I'm Linda Lier, and welcome to another episode of Block Blaze. I'm an adult fan of Lego, which is quite obvious when you walk into my house. There's Lego everywhere. I collect a lot of sets, a lot of parts because I'm a MOC builder, but today I'm going to talk about a theme that's the closest to my heart and the one that got me into Lego as an adult, and that's the collectible minifigures. So in 2010, Lego released the first series of collectible minifigures. I wasn't such a big fan. I think there was a lot of people that were also in their dark ages of Lego. I don't think the Lego revival had come out yet. That was with the Lego movie. So I wasn't a big fan. But they released these little packets of minifigures, and I had someone who was collecting, and he showed me that he'd got this gorilla suit guy from season 3. And it was so cool to see a new Lego. It wasn't the typical police or these sets that I'd come to know in the shops. It was something different. And then I checked and I saw that the series has all these interesting characters. And so I wasn't a big fan of Lego, I just wanted to collect these things. But as I did, I started to realize how much I liked Lego. And I was reminded of being a child and playing with Lego. So I think it really started then that I became an AFOL. So I started to collect them, and I'm a bit of a completionist, so I wanted all of them. But as I said, there wasn't so many fans back then, so they were in the stores for months and months and months. So I managed to collect all the ones backwards. So I got all of season 1, and I got all the way up to season 3, and I was getting duplicates because I was just buying them. They weren't that expensive back then, and it was then that I started to need to trade because I had like 5 Viking guys, and I was missing maybe 1 or 2. So I found a Facebook group, and it was the Lego minifigure group, and that's really where I met other fans of Lego, and it was so cool. I still have some of those friends. So at that stage I was also importing them, like by the box full. That's how much into it I was, and I had such a surplus. I back then had a minifig store on Bricklink, and there was only about 5 stores then. It really was. We were just getting into Lego, nothing like it is now. But slowly people started to realize how cool the minifigures were, and the fan base just grew. And then it was harder to find them. They became harder to find in the shops, and the rare ones, people knew which were the rare ones, and the prices went up, and it was just this whole explosion. But I still collect them to this day, and it's still, amongst all the other Lego that I have, something that I look forward to. So Lego's released, I think there's been all in all 30 series, but I think there's some debate now about what makes one have a full collection, and this is always a debate. So for me, I have all of them. I even have the 2 exclusive sets that were released overseas. They weren't released in South Africa, and that's the German football team that was released in Germany, and then there was the Great Britain Olympic team, which also was only released there, and these weren't available in South Africa. So some people will say you have a complete set without those, and that's okay, but I don't say that. I worked really hard to get them, and I'm happy I have those. They're really hard to find. I even have my German football guys still in their packets. So for me, I think they are part of the set. Then some people will say it's not a complete set without Mr. Gold. I don't have a Mr. Gold, so maybe I don't have a complete set. But anyway, Mr. Gold is really, really hard to find. What happened in Series 10 to mark the anniversary of these collectible minifigures was they released Mr. Gold. Now, he's not actually gold, he's just painted gold, but I think 5,000 were released worldwide. So they were just distributed, and they were hanging on the shelves in toy stores, and I don't even think back then people really knew how rare they were. I'm pretty sure some kids have them lying at the bottom of their toy boxes. But because they're so rare, the price is now ridiculous. I think they can be selling for maybe 20,000 Rand on eBay or something, just because people want them. And I do know of people that literally went to a Toys R Us and just bought one for 25 Rand, and it was in the packet. So I obviously wish I had one, but I don't think I'd spend that much on it. But to those that have him, wow. And then some people think the Unikitty series is part of it. I don't think the Unikitty series is part of the collectible minifigures, but you can debate me on that. But I don't have those either. I just collect the normal minifig series. So there's the normal collectible series where you find people with different occupations, or there's historic minifigures, which I personally like, especially the castle ones, or just any historic minifigures. I love those. But there's the costume guys, there's people from different subgenres like geeks and everything. They've trying to make minifigures that really cater for everybody. That is why they're so cool, because a lot of the parts are exclusive to them. And the little baby, the little minifig baby that came out, started with being with the babysitter in the collectible minifigures. A lot of the animals and the little dogs or penguins, they're only with the collectible minifigures. You don't find them in the normal sets. So some people, if they really like a minifigure, just buy a lot of the same one. So they don't really care about having all of them in the set. They just want 20 of one of them. I also do that, so I have armies of maybe soldiers, or I think I have an army of cacti, just because they're cool. So as I said, I like to trade minifigures. That's a lot of the time what we do as minifig collectors. So I like to have an overview shot of how many I have and what I'm missing and what I still need. So the app I use is called Minifig Collector. It also synchronizes with Brickset, so you can make changes on either and it'll synchronize. And that's really cool, because then I can just get a quick shot of what I still need, and if I've got 50 of one and I don't have Mr. Gold. Yeah. So obviously we have to talk about storage. It was really great in the beginning when there was only 16 minifigures, because I found the perfect container at my local plastic store that had like 17 slots, and then I could put the pamphlet into one of them. And then Lego threw a huge spanner in the works and started making 18 and 20 and 22, which was very frustrating. But yeah, it's a silly thing to get angry at Lego for, but we have our quirks. So I've had to buy bigger storage containers with like 20 slots now, but that's okay. I would actually like to display them ideally. They would look really cool on a wall, but I just don't have a solution for that yet. So they're in boxes and they're kept safe and dust-free. The minifigures started my love of Lego, and then it just grew. And with the minifigures, it inspired me because I wanted to then create the environments that went with them, because they were so different and exciting. So I became a mock builder, and I primarily focus on building landscapes or environments for these minifigures, because I think they each have a story to tell, and I like to build around that. For me, it was a natural progression to start mocking, because I am very creative. I'm normally sketching or painting, and this just is another medium for me to use. So I do try, and whatever's in my head, I try and create it, and I'm inspired by the minifigures. For me, Lego's a story. So when I display, I like to tell the story of the little minifigure and why he's in that environment. I use a lot of nature stuff. I use plants more than buildings. And that's primarily what I'm doing now as an A4. Thank you so much for interviewing me. I love talking about Lego, so I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe and show all your friends and get them into Lego. Cool.